Hello, now is lecture 5, and the title is Agreement and Tenses in Academic Writing. The cluster is Social Science and Business Management. What will you learn? You will learn basically two things: subject verb agreement and tenses. I know some of you would say, I know subject verb agreement, I've learned it before. I know tenses, I've learned it before. This is just a recap of what you've learned. Perhaps when you're doing your write up, you might want to maybe you might want to print out some of these slides and have it near you when you're typing, especially for the rules for the subject verb agreement. All right. Why is subject verb agreement important? Have you ever read a piece of write up that has so many grammatical errors as you read here and there? It really puts you off. And sometimes in my experience of marking my students' essay, um, you know, students who writes an essay with so many grammatical error, although it is not stated that your marks will be deducted because of grammatical error, but you see, this is from the point of view of the evaluator. All right, can you imagine me? I have done it before, whether purposely or not. When I read an essay, an academic essay with a lot of grammatical errors, I get very angry. And each paragraph I say, oh, this is not supposed to be this way. And then I read another section, this is not supposed to be this way. And sometimes I will unintentionally correct some of the grammatical errors that I see along the way. And then by the time I finish reading the essay or evaluating the essay, I will stop and ask myself, what was the essay about? I can't even remember anything because I was so busy getting angry at the whole essay that I don't even remember any of the contents. So, do you want your evaluator to do that to your work? So, make sure you revise your subject verb agreement and your tenses before you even begin to write your first draft. Subject verb agreement 10 rules. Yeah, there are 10 rules. You remember doing them last time? All right. Okay, let's look at the basic rule first. The basic rule is a singular subject takes a singular verb. This is a simple one, whereas a plural subject takes a plural verb. She walks. He he drives a car. Okay, singular, singular. Whereas a plural takes a plural verb. They walk. Okay, they work. Example, the list of items is or are on the desk. If you know that the list is the subject, then you will choose is for the verb. Okay, let's begin. That was just general rule. I hope and I think you know. Okay, let's look at rule number 1. Rule number 1. A subject will come before a phrase beginning with of. This is a key rule for understanding subjects. The word of is the culprit in many, perhaps most subject-verb mistakes. Hasty writers, especially when you're in a hurry, speakers, readers, and listeners might miss the all too common mistakes in the following sentence. It's not correct to say a bouquet of yellow roses because you've just said the word roses. So you assume that it's plural. Lend color and fragrance to the room. Okay, but no, the subject is not roses. The subject is the bouquet. So a bouquet of yellow roses. So the subject is bouquet. Lends. So it's singular. Okay, let's go on to rule 2. Rule 2. Two singular subjects connected by or either or neither nor require a singular verb. Yes, I see this mistakes very common. All right. perhaps is confusing. My aunt or my uncle. I know your brain actually see aunt and uncle too. All right. So some of you will quickly write ah because you see two people in the sentence. All right. But it's actually singular. It's or. It's either the aunt or the aunt. Both of them are not arriving. Either one. So my aunt or uncle is arriving by train today. They don't come together. So it's or. So it's a singular. Neither. So it's not both Juan and Carmen. It's either one of them. So neither Juan nor Carmen. It's one of them. So neither one of them is available. Singular. Next one. Either. Either Kiana or Casey. Casey. Also, your brain or your eyes capture two names there, but it's not plural. It's singular because it's either one of them. Okay, both of them are not doing it together. One of them. So either Kiana or Casey is helping today with stage decorations. Simple enough. Let's go to rule number 3. Rule number 3. The verb in an or either in an or neither nor sentence agrees with the noun or pronoun closest to it. Neither the plates, that's plural, nor the serving bowl, but that's singular. Oh, then you might get confused. Which one do I do? If you follow the rule just now, neither, either, or, you use singular. But one of this is plural and one of this is singular. Okay, you choose the one closest. Which one is closest to the verb? The verb is goes. So which one is closest? Is the bowl. Therefore, neither the plates nor the serving bowl, okay, goes on that shelf. But if you change the position, neither the serving bowl nor the plates, then it becomes plural. It's the position of the noun nearest the verb. This rule can lead to bumps in the road. For example, if I or if it's one of the two more subject, it could lead to this odd sentence. Awkward, eh? Neither she, my friends, nor I am going to the festival. So this is going to be confusing. If possible, it's best to reword such grammatically correct but awkward sentences. Neither she, comma, I, nor my friends. Okay? Are is near to friends, so therefore it becomes plural. All right? She, my friends, and I are not going to the festival. All right. Try to do the first one. It's clearer because I don't think you say I are. So I think try to arrange the sentence grammatically so it's within your capacity to analyze. All right. Rule number 4. Rule number 4. It's a general rule. Use a plural verb with two or more subjects that when they are connected by the word and. Example, a car and a bike are my means of transportation. Yes, the word and shows that there's more than one, just the word and. Okay? However, exceptions will be breaking and entering is against the law. The bed and breakfast was charming. In the sentences up there, breaking and entering is considered one, and bed and breakfast is actually one. It's a group of noun. Breaking and entering is actually one offense. You don't say it's not two separate offenses there. Okay, next one. Rule number 5. Sometimes the subject is separated from the verb by such words as along. This is going to get confusing. The comma and the separated of the words as well besides. These words and phrases are not part of the subject. Ignore them and use a singular verb. Okay, look at this. Okay, look at the first example. Now, the fact that there is a comma there everything within the comma can be thrown out. Okay, look at this. The politician, comma, along with the newsman, comma. All right? This actually simply means the politician alone is expected shortly. Afterward, the politician will arrive. Okay, but just to say that this politician is not coming alone, he's coming along the newsman. And then the sentence is still singular. Excitement as well as nervousness. It's not and, it's as well as, and there's a comma before and after. So it's actually singular. It's the cause of a shaking. Okay, that's 5A, rule 5A. Okay, the comma before and after is actually is optional. You can actually take it out, and therefore the sentence is actually singular. Look at 5B. Parentheses are not part of the subject. Okay, Joe, actually this is just like the comma up there, and his trusty mute was always welcome. Okay, if this seems awkward, try rewriting the sentence. Maybe you just say Joe was always welcome. So just like the comma, you can actually throw out the one in parentheses. You can throw out the one within the comma. All right. Note. The word there's is a contraction of there is. Leads to bad habit. Yeah, I strongly discourage you to use construction there's. Because when you use there's, you do not realize that it is actually singular. It is actually there is. Okay? So there's a lot of people here today because it's easier to say there's than there are. Take care never to use there's with a plural subject. Therefore, don't use contraction because sometimes uh, there's a lot of people. There are a lot of people. All right. So therefore, don't use contraction. When you don't use contraction, the verb you will be very careful with either is or are. Rule 6. Rule 6. In sentences begin with here or there, the true subject follows the verb. Again, this is the nearest to the verb. There are 4 hurdles to jump. Why 4 hurdles? Because there are. All right. There are. The are refers to how many hurdles? 4. There is a high hurdle. Why is? How many hurdle? 1. A high hurdle. So singular. Here are. You're not sure? Look at the subject. The subject of the sentence is what? What are we talking about? Keys. So here are the keys. Are. Plural. Don't get confused yet. We got 3 more rules to go. Rule 7. Rule 7, you use a singular verb with distances, periods of time, sums of money, etc. when considered as unit. 3 miles is too far to walk. It's not the miles. The subject of the sentence is not 3 miles. The subject of the sentence is not the miles. It's actually it's collective, 3 miles. So it's 4 years is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 years. It's actually a collective word, 5 years. So therefore you use singular. It's the maximum sentence for that offense. $10. You don't count 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's actually a collective noun. Is a high price to pay. But but when you are talking about what you see, bills, $10 were scattered on the floor. That is an exception. Let's go on to rule number 8. Rule number 8. With words that indicate portions. Example. For example, you have a lot, a majority, some, all. Rule number 1 is given earlier in this section is reversed, and we are guided by the noun of, after the word of. The noun after of is singular, use a singular verb. Okay, let's look at an example. If it's plural, use a plural verb. Example. Yeah, okay. It's confusing. A lot of, okay, fine. But look at the noun after the word of. A lot of the pie. After the word of is singular, the pie has disappeared. A lot of the pies, after the word of, the pies, plural, have disappeared. A third of the city, after the word of, singular, is unemployed. A third of the people, after the word, the third people, plural, are unemployed. Okay. All the pie is gone, singular. All the pies, after of is plural, are gone. Some of the pie, singular, you use is, missing. Some of the pies is plural, you use are. None is actually considered singular. If you ever use the word none, none of the above is. So it's actually a singular. None will be followed by maybe as is, not are. So it carries a singular verb. Rule number 9. Rule number 9, with collective nouns such as a group, jury, family, audience, population, furniture, the verb might be plural or singular or plural depending on the writer's intent. Family is a group. All my family is a group has arrived. But you can say have if you know the number. Most of the jury is here, but if you know the number, most of the jury are here. Both ways also possible. What determines if the sentences after it, the sentences will determine whether the numbers were taken into consideration. A third of the population was not in favor or were not. It depends on the sentence that comes after the sentence later that will confirm the reader correct. It was supposed to be singular, or correct. It was supposed to be plural. Note, anyone who uses a plural verb with a collective noun must take care to be accurate and also consistent. It must not be done carelessly. The following is the sort of flawed sentence one sees and hears a lot these days. The staff is deciding how they want to vote. Singular. Careful speakers and writers would avoid assigning the singular is and the plural they to stuff in the same sentence. All right. So it's very it's it's um it's going to confuse you if you do that. The staff is deciding how they. So you're confusing yourself by beginning with singular and suddenly you want to add a they in it. The staff. So how to be consistent? The staff, because you want to maintain the word they at the end of the sentence. So the staff are deciding how they want to vote. Rewriting such sentence is recommended whenever possible, yes. The preceding sentence would read even better as the staff members, that would be better, are deciding how they want to vote. So you might want to check the words that you use so that you don't confuse yourself before you confuse the reader. Final rule. Rule number 10. The word were replaces was in sentences that expresses a wish or are contrary to fact. Example, if Joe were here, you'd be sorry. All right. If it is a wish, okay, you will use were. Even if the subject verb agreement say Joe is singular, but this is a wish. It doesn't happen. It has not happened yet. Shouldn't Joe be followed by was? Some of you thought like that. Just now we just learned rule number 1, given that Joe is singular, but Joe isn't actually here, so we say were, not was. The sentence demonstrates the subjunctive mood, right? Which is used to express things that are hypothetical, not really, it's not really happening, it's not true, it's wishful, imaginary, or factually contradictory. The subjunctive mood pairs singular verbs with what we usually think of as plural verbs. Example again, I wish it were Friday. Okay, I know it is singular, but it's again, it's a wish. She requested that next one, she requested that he raise his hand. In the first example, a wishful statement, not a fact, is being expressed. Therefore, Were, which we usually think of as a plural verb, is used with a singular it. Yeah, technically it is singular, but the subject of the object clause is the subjunctive mood. It were Friday. So it's not Friday, right? Okay. Next one. Normally, if you use the second sentence, she requested that he raise his hand. Normally, the word he is singular. He raised would sound terrible to us. However, in the second example, where a request, she requested that he raise his hand. So it's being expressed a request. So it's now it becomes a subjunctive mood. The subjunctive mood is losing ground. But however, subjunctive mood is actually uh, losing ground, but should still be used in formal speech and writing. Some people who are very fluent in the English and they're very good in the subject verb agreement. So when they speak, the moment um, they utter a personal subject, uh, the next unplanned reaction is to utter a subject verb that follows the subject of the sentence. So it's still okay when you speak, but if possible, when you write, try to stick to the rules, formal. All right? So we are done with the 10 rules of the grammar. You're not expected to remember all 10. Don't worry. This is not going to be a test. Nobody's going to test you what's rule number one, what's rule number two, what's rule number three. But it's wise to have this rule printed out with you when you begin writing your first draft, so that when you write you are aware of, okay, follows this, is it a plural or is it singular? That would help. All right. Okay, ready? Now let's go on to another confusing one. Tenses. All right. Um, when you're writing academic writing, okay, you can write both active and passive voice. All right. Okay. Um, you can use three type of tenses in your thesis, in your research writing, in your academic writing. You can use present simple, you can use simple past, and you can also use present perfect tense. Oops, you don't remember what the three tenses are? Let's recap a little bit. Present tense. What is it used for? It's used to introduce a topic with a general statement. Making statements about what is currently true. Example, the study addresses. So it's a present tense. Okay? The shortage of research about gifted students. Right? And next one, present tense, it's current is still true. Skinner's theories remain valid today. Present tense easy. Next, past tense. What is it used for? Reporting another's completed research. Describing completed methods and data. This is when you write your chapter 3. You should use past tense. The findings revealed that. All right? And even in your findings for chapter 4, you should be using your past tense for some of the parts where you start to mention the findings. Okay? So what have you looked at here? All right. So basically, this PowerPoint slides, this set of PowerPoint slides, you have revised your subject-verb agreement. Print it out when you want to write your first draft. It will help. There are 10 basic rules. You'll not be tested, don't worry. And tenses, there are three types of tenses that people normally use in academic writing. So all set to write your first draft. Thank you for listening.